What?
Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Tim Walcott, with my co-host, Tyler Paterson.
Ayo.
For this episode of Between Sets, we have a special guest, Louis Guarino. And this is also our third episode that's going to be visual, which I don't even know if Louis knew or not, and it probably doesn't matter. He still would have wore that outfit because that's just how he does.
I don't mess around.
Yeah, he doesn't play. And Louis is a online fitness coach and Fashion Nova. Louis, I'll let you take it from here. Tell the audience what you do and how you got to the point of where you are.
Yeah. All right. So what's up, everybody? I'm Coach Louis or Lewis, whatever you want to say. Basically, I've been personal training full time since 2012. Basically, I was that dude that my family was go to college, get your degree, that type of thing, which is not wrong. It's not wrong or whatever, but I was in school for nursing. And at the same time, while I was in school for nursing, I had already applied for NYPD and took their test and, was just waiting to get called into the academy. And I was just like, nope. I was a nurse. I remember doing one semester clinical and I was just like, nah, I'm good on this. And I had worked at a hospital for 6 years, during that time too. So I was used to it, but I was like, I just don't want to do this. And then I started personal training, and then I started personal training in June of 2012. January of 2013, I got a phone call from NYPD hey, we're extending the academy to you if you want to, go into it. And I was just like, nah, I'm good. Thank you. So I passed up on that, and I just kept personal training ever since then.
So you were doing in-person training?
Yeah. So in New York, there's a, New York, Jersey, pretty much the Northeast, there's a gym, gyms that are Good Life. It's called the New York Sports Club, which is
Okay.
they're pretty much the same exact gym, just different names, different countries.
Okay.
And that's where I, made my start. And I was just doing in-person training full time. And I was just like, well, this is all I know. This is what I'm really good at. And I need to put food on my table. So let me get better at it. And so here I am.
How did you make the transition to online then? You were doing in person for a while and then slowly transitioned, or were you forced to make that transition pretty quick?
Yeah, so for me, I actually made that transition back in 2015. It still wasn't as, popular as it is today. But I met you might know him, Mark Young. I met him through Facebook, and then we became really good friends. And, we were both working for a coaching company at the time. And I remember saying look, all I want to do is help people with their meal plans, learn how to track their calories and their macros, et cetera. And I want to create custom plans while working from home. And I had no idea that this was even a thing at the time until we started talking a little bit more. Started telling me kind of what they did, how they did it. Then I got onto the company, and pretty much I just went full time from there. And, I was still doing in-person clients because I, living in New York, Jersey, it's you got to have both if you're not making a shit ton of money in that regard. So I was still doing in-person, but I was also doing full-time online as well. So while I had that luxury of doing both, I did. And then fast forward, Canada, I just did everything online, and that's what I've been doing.
Was that transition challenging? Doing everything online where you're no. Okay.
The necessity is going to force you to find ways.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize that. I think people think that it's, online training is going to be this, it's a cash grab. It's quick. I'm like, no, you don't realize that you actually need to have that experience in person with people. You need to actually have people skills and communication because not only do you when you're face to face with someone, you have to be able to verbalize things. Right. And only you, I remember I was at a writing workshop with John Romanello a couple weeks ago. And I remember he said something so dope, but it was so simple. He's like, oh, you know what you meant. They heard what you said. Something like that, right? And so when you're essentially, or something along those lines, they're basically saying that in order for you to build those communication skills, you have to be crystal clear on what you say so that when you say it, they know there's no guessing, right? But then when you start typing, some people type like they speak, and if they're not clear speakers, they're going to be terrible typers. And then that reading that word is going to just leave it up in the air as to what you mean, and it is open for interpretation at that point. Mm-hmm. So I learned how to be, and I've always loved people, and I've always loved talking. Like, this is why podcasts are actually kind of fun, because I can just talk my ass off. And that's what I'm here for. You know,
that's why you've been on my list of podcast guests to have on, man. I was like, Louis is made for this.
Yeah, dude, I just love talking. So like, but like at the same time, I also love listening, right? And that's how you become a better speaker, is by listening and learning how to connect in that way. Mm-hmm. And so I've been doing that, and yeah, man, it's just, that's kind of like, for me, making that transition wasn't, I think the hardest part of the transition, so to speak, was the, you know, having, you know, building social proof. Because online, like, whereas like in my local gym, like, I knew what I was doing, you know, people knew me, people saw what I was doing. Whereas like, I'm now in a, you know, I'm on the World Wide Web. Like, I'm mixed with everybody else doing the same exact thing from all over the world. How do I differentiate myself? And yeah, man, I just, you know, stuck to what I know, and I just do what I do in the way that I do it. You know,
what motivated you to take that writing workshop? Are you writing more blog stuff now?
No.
Okay.
No. Honestly, the reason why I did it though was, well, for me, it's like, all right, I know that I'm a really good writer. I know that I'm a really good writer, but I also know that I can be way better. Right. And with that, I never really invested into my business monetarily the way that maybe others have. Like, you know, people are going out to different conferences and certifications. I'm like, I don't really give a crap about any of that stuff, quite honestly. Like, it's never been a thing for me. Like, I'm not here looking for the accolades and validation of other people. Like, I just need to, like, my clients to know that I'm going to help them get them to where they want to be, and like, they're in really good hands. And with the writing workshop, it was just a way for me to like learn how to tell better stories and communicate in a way that, you know, is that my demographic, which is mainly women, well, you know, not that they don't understand how I speak now. I've been doing very well prior to this writing workshop, but I just love telling stories. And I think that if I can add layers and depth to the way that I write things, it makes it more engaging. That's really what it was. And that's what, you know, that's why I took it. And it was a very invaluable lesson that day.
That's cool, man. And I can tell that you are a good writer, because even just in your, you know, people might say that Facebook's kind of informal, but really it's a mini blog post, or it's a mini whatever it is. And, you know, you write some lengthy stuff on there that gets into some deep stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's good writing. It is good. You know, I think a lot of times people don't think of Facebook as something like that, but I don't even know. I'm assuming they have a character limit on Facebook. I don't know.
Honestly, I don't think so. And if it is, it's super large, because I've never reached capacity, and I've written some long stuff before.
Yeah, which is kind of cool, because I think people don't really look at Facebook like that. Everyone kind of views it more as like share your most clickbaity political headline, and then share a confirmation bias caption that will just, you know, and it's like you're using it a little bit differently, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, in full disclosure, I got rid of my timeline with the Chrome app. I don't want to see anybody's shit, quite honestly. Mm-hmm. And the people I do want to see, like, if I want to, you know, I can't get rid of my timeline I got rid of the Facebook app on my phone. Mm-hmm. So I access Facebook via the browser on my phone sometimes. And that's if like I'm super bored. But even then, like, I read things sometimes, I'm just like, oh my God, like there's like, I can't understand. Like, yeah, that's pretty much what Facebook has become. It's just like a cesspool of bullshit and whining. And I can't personally stand it, you know, and it's actually not good for my mental health. It just like, you know, it has now become the platform where grown ass people sound like children. And I'm like, yo, grow up.
Yeah.
You can also cultivate it. So Tim showed me a while back where you can, this is not really, I don't like out us, but like you can have a friend, but then unfollow their stuff.
Oh,
right?
for
so
sure.
You're still friends with them, but you can unfollow what they're posting. So if you're not like, I don't need to see girls from my high school posting like pictures of the kids, even though it's cute, I don't want my Facebook to be that. So you can cultivate your Facebook in a way that all I follow is like kind of healthcare professionals, fitness professionals, people that are posting valuable stuff. You can make amazing. Same thing with like Instagram.
Now, Louis, let me tell you my struggle with going off on that. So when I started kind of cleaning out my Facebook timeline, where I was like, okay, I'll just unfollow the people that their stuff doesn't bring me value. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll take them out, right? So I essentially curated my Facebook into a thing that's research studies, fitness conversations, mostly fit pros, like a lot of that stuff. So when I open it, it should be a lot of learning happening. Now, one thing I didn't take into consideration was the polarization of the fitness community and how many fitness people talk about other shit other than fitness, and they're obsessed with other things, social issues, politics, all that stuff. And it drives me insane because I'm like, I want you on my timeline because you're intelligent in this one area. Please stop talking about this, you know? And, especially now more than ever, you see another problem with that. It's just too bad because I'm like, I appreciate and respect your expertise on this topic. I wish you would speak more on that than this other stuff.
Well, here's the thing. So a while back, again, there's always shit going on in the fitness industry, as every other industry, which is why also I'm like, why are we acting so surprised when things happen like this? Is humanity.
It's just humans. Yeah.
Humanity is flawed in general. So it doesn't matter if you're in the fitness profession, the medical profession, finance, like you're going to have people that do crappy things a lot. So like, let's not just, put everything under a microscope into this one industry and be like, oh my God, this industry is so shit. Like, no, like this is everybody, quite honestly. So, but yeah, I remember one of my buddies was like, had asked me about something else that had happened in the fitness industry. And like, normally I would kind of, give like the PC approach answer, so to speak. But then I was like, you know what? It was just liberating to be like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I like somebody asked me about this particular topic, and like he respects me and I respect him a lot. But I was like, honestly, I don't give a fuck. Like, these people, I don't have relationships with these people. Like, these people don't have relationships with me. They don't like people, like, I don't expect people to come into my life and my drama, which I don't even have any drama because I don't like that. You know what I mean? Like, why am I going to then give whatever mental capacity that I have and my limited mental space? Why am I going to give that to shit that doesn't matter, that doesn't make me money, that doesn't put food on my table, that doesn't curate better relationships in my life? Like, if none of that, if it's not helping in any capacity, then I don't give a fuck. Like, I just don't. And a lot of people don't like that. They're like, but you could only care about so much. Like, you can absolutely, without a doubt, and I'm not telling people that they should not empathize. I empathize with people that go through things, of course, and if I can't empathize, I surely as hell sympathize. But I can't let it take up all the space in my mental, in my mind, because then I have no room for me and no room for the shit that I'm going to go through or that I need to deal with. You know what I mean? And like, I think that everybody is so much into everybody else's shit.
Yeah.
That they forget to like realize like, hey, you have your own life to live. You've got your own bullshit to deal with. You've got your own skeletons and you've got your own things to deal with. Like, deal with that first before you start giving all your time and energy and focus into something else that, quite honestly, does nothing for you outside of your Facebook timeline.
Yeah,
like,
dude, you get lost in some threads.
I don't know that, and like I used to, sure, but then I'm like, I have no desire to like, I remember, back 2016 when police shootings in the States were happening at an alarming rate, and it was always on the news, and like, of course, like, it angered me because I am a biracial kid. Like, I know what it's like to go, to drive an Audi TT in a very, nice part of New Jersey where it's a lot of money, go to work, get pulled over, and then have the officer say to you, hey, is this your car? As if like, like the way that again, it's not even what you say, but your tone and how you say it, that speaks volumes. I know what it's like to be in the car with my brother-in-law, who's African-American, and my sister, and then my sister be the one driving, yet the police officer pulls us over and then asks for my ID and my brother-in-law's ID, but doesn't ask for my sister's, even though she's the one that's driving. Like, it's really fucked up. There are things really happening in this world, but like, I'm not going to go on Facebook like, oh my God, guys, look what happened. No, like, yo, there are bad things happening to people all over this world. If everybody else had to worry about everybody, we would be a very stressed out society. And I think that we need to like learn to empathize and learn to sympathize without also allowing it to straight up ruin our own, individual selves and put us into a fucking panic attack. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what I think. So
how much do you watch the news then, Louis?
Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that was the question. Nailed it.
I watch it. I might throw on, like, I don't even have cable because obviously I have Crave and Netflix and YouTube.
Yeah.
If I need, like, I have news alerts that come up on my phone. If I have to watch that, if something like, if I see a headline, and they're not all clickbaity, it is like the New York Times and stuff like that. So if it's something I really want to see or read about, I'll open it up. Otherwise, I just cancel it out. If it shows up on my YouTube feed, like, CB24 or The Globe or whatever it is, if there's something like really pressing, especially with the coronavirus update stuff, like, sure, I'll watch that. Yeah. But quite honestly, everything else, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm done. I'm through with it. Because I was caring so much about everything else going on in the world that it left me no space for myself. And when when it leaves no space for me, how the hell can I, serve my clients, the people in my life, like, that matter, that are actually dealing with me on a personal level? Like, how can I serve them and help them? And how can they help me if I'm not even available?
Yeah, exactly.
So I just said, screw it. Like, I'm done with this shit. So I just learned to, like, really kind of give a shit less.
Definitely. I think that's the right move. I've had to figure out how to do that as well. Like, you figure out what, you do have finite resources where you can deal with these things.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where, like, some of this, like, recreational outrage on the internet just in general comes from. Maybe not just fit pros, but people in general, where it's like, like, maybe they don't have enough going on in their own life. I don't know what it is, but like, and I know that we're also tempted by it because of the inundation of just information. So you almost have to take now, like, intentional, deliberate, conscious choices to avoid it, as opposed to the opposite,
Yeah.
Like being uninformed is, like, harder now.
But that's the thing.
Like,
but that's, I'm like almost choked myself with my friggin', but yeah, I mean, but I don't think it's for a lack of things not going on in people's lives, okay. But I think everybody else wants to be consumed with everyone else's lives because they don't want to deal with the shit in their own.
Okay. Sure.
And it takes a hell of a lot more courage, or it takes a hell of a lot more pain to hold that mirror up in front of you and be like, wow, I got a pretty fucked up life right now. Like, it's pretty hard to do that. But when you can point the finger at somebody and be like, oh, look what you're doing, it's easy to deflect and project all your ills, all your faults, all your flaws onto other people so that you don't have to worry about it, worry about your own shit. And that's a problem, a huge fucking problem. And it actually drives me batty when I read things and I'm like, I'm just, that's why I try not to read comments. I try not to get into these threads, but I'm just reading, like, oh my God, you should be doing this. You should be doing that. I'm like, yo, would you dare say that shit to somebody's face if they were standing 2 feet in front of you? I guarantee you wouldn't. Why? Because you're not that thorough. You're not that real. Like, stop hiding. You know what I mean? Like, stop this phony shit. Like, be you. And if you are a shitty person, try not to be one. It's you know what I mean? It's not like you being this, like, snarky, shitty human being on the internet typing is not making you better as a human being IRL to begin with, right? Mm-hmm. Like, learn to be a little bit more empathetic and sympathetic, learn to understand, learn that people are people, that people are flawed, that people aren't inherently shitty people. It's just learned behaviors. It's the lenses and the experiences that have brought them to that point. And, like, maybe it takes a little bit of grace to be like, look, like, yo, you're being a dick, but I don't think that's your true nature. Like, what's going on? Like, have conversations with some of these people. But, like, I just get so fed up with a lot of this fake outrage. Everybody was so pissed off about Harambe. Now he's become this like meme because now it's fun when everybody else is outraged by it. You know, everybody's outraged by this, by that. It's like, yo, chill with the fucking outrage. That's why I hate cancel culture. I hate cancel culture. You can't cancel what you never started. If you didn't start something, if you didn't help build somebody up or build this TV show up or build this song or whatever, if you did not do anything, you can't cancel it. You can't cancel what you didn't make. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you have, oh my God, this person's canceled. This person's canceled. Like, no, shut up. Like, you can't cancel anybody or anything. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that I can go on a fucking.
It goes back to Jordan Peterson's whole clean your room thing, I think.
Again,
you know, just like
even with Peterson, I don't know a lot about him. I do have 12 Rules. I have yet to read it all. I have watched some of this stuff, and there was all this outrage about him and how he's this, how he's that. I'm like, no.
It's like, that's not the right, like, you could put that effort elsewhere, it'd be better used.
Listen, like, take your biases. Like, you might be seeing, listen, if you believe this to be, or if you believe that this person is this way, ask yourself why you believe that this person is this way. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, if a human being, as long as you're not a human being inciting riots, inciting, you know, trying to, you know, gather people to inflict harm onto another group of people, like, then you're like, that's where we're different. Like, we're all gonna have differences. We're all gonna have beliefs that don't agree with each other. Mm-hmm. But as long as you're not out there harming, or you're not like telling people to harm others, then like, it is what it is. Like, if you don't agree with something, like, turn off the channel. Dave Chappelle said it best. It was on his Sticks and Stones one. He said something. He was like, he was in the middle of a joke, and then he's like, and just remember, people, you clicked my motherfucking face on Netflix. And I'm like, yo, that's true. Like, people are so outraged by him, but I'm like, you didn't have to click his special.
Dude, it ended up being the most beautifully ironic name for a special, because he named it Sticks and Stones, and then everyone got offended by it.
Yeah,
it was so good. I was like, this couldn't be better. This is amazing. You guys played right into him.
My I know that we did not even plan on talking about Chappelle, but I'll tell you right now, I've watched that stand-up about, I don't even know how many times. I think it's the most brilliant stand-up I've ever watched in my entire life.
I still haven't seen it.
You know, he is so eloquent, and he is so insanely intelligent, and the way that he can connect and, you know, make light of serious, because that's what comedy is. You know, comedy is really taking the raw, you know, taking a really raw stance and a raw, you know, look at something, making light of it, like, because things are serious, but in these moments, you got to kind of find some kind of humor in it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, you know, people who get offended by that stuff, I'm like, you know what, man, like, what do you want? Like, listen, you know, we can't be offended by everything all the time. You know what I mean? We just can't. You know, you know, there are groups of people, you know, people talk about, you know, like, people talk about black people all the time. I'm half black. You know what I mean? People can make jokes. I'm not offended. Like, personally, I'm not offended by it. I would be like, yo, that's a little bit rude, or that's not true. But like, you know, it's one of these things where I'm like, you know what, man, you know, everything that we, you know, again, it has to do with life experience. And I also think that a lot of the jokes do come from stereotypes, and, you know, there's a lot of groups that are breaking stereotypes, and they are absolutely being applauded for it. And we should move past those type of things. But I don't know. I'm one of those people that's like, yo, it's funny because also we can kind of look back at what these stereotypes were and be like, yo, look how stupid they were. Look at how we, you know, how as individuals or as groups of people, whatever we want to claim with said group, look how we have advanced. We can look back and be like, wow, that was really, like, yo, that was really kind of stupid. Or that was like, I'm glad that we got past that. We can laugh at that now. You get what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah.
I don't know. These are the thoughts in my head.
Yeah, man. Like, the funny thing about like stuff like stereotypes too is they like how you got onto that, like, from the comedy part too, right? Is like they're useful for comedic perspective as far as kind of creating that art, you know? Yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes stereotypes have a negative connotation with it when you know what I mean? When really it's like, there should be no positive or negative assignment to stereotypes in general. It depends on the actual stereotype, whether it's negative or positive.
Exactly. I say that if your stereotype is, if somebody speaks about stereotypes and it's founded in something incredibly negative, incredibly negligent, and something that is
but also false,
and
right?
Also,
because what if it's negative and true, right?
Yeah. And I mean, like, yeah, if it's not true and it's negative, like, sure, like, you know, there's something to be said. But, you know, if something is like, sure, if it's founded within, if there's some truth to that negative, you know, that stereotype, it's like, you know, I don't know where would I go with this? I would say that if you're not part of the group, then you probably don't want to talk about those type of things.
Right.
But like, if you're part of that group,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, you can laugh at it and be like, wow, like, yo, this is what the stereotype was for our group. And it's kind of ridiculous. And so we'll make fun of it. Right.
Yeah.
We'll dumb it down.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like racially speaking, Russell Peters did that all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave Chappelle does it. Kevin Hart did it. Russell Peters did it. You know, that's why, you know, like different, you know, Ali Wong, she took a huge freaking hit from feminists everywhere, but she understands it. But she is a very successful Asian American woman comedian. She's so unique, and she's able to laugh at all those stereotypes. But like everybody, like there were a lot of like feminists, and there were a lot of like, you know, people that were like, this is very derogatory, you're pushing our agenda back. She's like, no, you idiots. Like, I am in fact pushing it forward because I can make fun of these things because of how ridiculous it is, because how successful an Asian American woman can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, that's why I love Ali Wong. Her specials are absolutely amazing. She's like probably one of my favorite comedians.
She's the one who
she's hilarious.
She was pregnant for her specials, right?
Yeah. And what makes
Baby Cobra.
she makes so she's like, you know, and I'm not gonna get into her jokes, but like, she makes a lot of great jokes about like what life should have been like for her, as you know, she should have been the stay-at-home mom, and here she is working, doing comedy to afford her child. I'm like, but she could laugh at that because it's a joke, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. But
have you ever thought about doing stand-up comedy?
Absolutely not.
Oh, Louis, come on, dude.
Absolutely not. I'm not.
This
I'm
is your start.
I'm not funny. I am not funny at all. Well, I'm not funny.
But you could be like, neither was George Carlin. Yeah, like he's not funny. He's just not funny. People like, you know what I mean? Like, but he was useful. I think he was useful because he had a great point of view on things, and so do you. So it's like, which I mean, like maybe you don't want to be that guy, but
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'll stick to fitness. I like getting people's body. I like changing people's bodies. I like coaching them.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be in that platform. No.
Yeah. Speaking of online
coaching, along those lines,
how I did want to ask you, because you know you have created a pretty cool kind of mini empire of yours, just with you know, and you are an online coach. You've built up your online brand, and you continue to grow it on the daily. You know, I see your work constantly. You know, posting your thoughts, client spotlights, all these different projects you have on the go. What would you say is the key? And I'm sure you're not going to name one thing. So maybe what are the keys to delivering a high level online coaching service, in your opinion?
Communication, without a doubt. I'll tell you
with
right
the
now.
Client?
With the client. Absolutely. But another great thing that thing that I got out of the writing workshop that I went to, these are not plugs for them, but these are actually things that like I actually was experiencing, but because it like these thoughts came at those moments. But one thing I was talking about was, as a coach, I'm responsible to my client, which is why I do these. I make sure that I'm responsible in ways of, you know, having weekly check-ins, communicating with them, but I'm not responsible for my clients. My clients need to be responsible for themselves. And what that responsibility means, they need to communicate with me. That's being responsible. The most successful clients that I've ever worked with are the ones that literally are the most, they communicate the most. They are the ones that ask the questions. They're the ones that, you know, not that they're questioning my reasons. And even if they do, they are within their rights to do so. you know, like, oh, well, why did you drop my carbs, or why did you drop my calories overall, or why don't I have cardio right now? And then I explain to them as to why, but they don't ask in a very like this like kind of condescending manner, or like they don't trust me or believe
They're
me.
inquisitive.
They're exactly, because the whole point of my coaching service is to educate people so that should they leave me after 12, 16, 24, I have clients that have been with me for 2 years. Like, you know, like whenever they decide to leave me, like they have the knowledge and skills to maintain that. Right. And so my whole thing is, you know, communication is a must. Like
I was going to say too, on that note, to just interject, like my experience as well, and my point of view on that is, you know, when the clients ask me why I'm doing certain things or whatever with their coaching, you know, I encourage that because I think that the more involved they can be with their own, the coaching process, I think that's going to increase rapport, which will help adherence overall. And I think it helps motivation, accountability, and adherence, just those three things all in one. So if they feel like they're involved, and, you know, I've had clients straight up just be like, could you do this, this, and this? It would make me feel like I'm more involved. And I was like, you know, at first I look at it and I go, the immediate response actually is like, oh, I feel bad I didn't already do that. But then like, how would I know, you know? So then I go, okay, well, then I should do that because this is going to help that person. Right.
Exactly.
But
you know,
I think that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I think, well, that, you know, at the heart of personal training, whether it's in person or online, the idea is that it's personal. And I think people forget that. It's called personal training because it's personal. Like, how we got so far removed from personal training, it's like, it baffles me. You know, people, you know, I get it. I've done group coaching. I've done this. I've done that, you know, online especially. But my favorite clients to work with are the ones that take it, say it with me, personal. You know, like that's what it's about. You know, like and that's, you know, so I've been able to create a successful business because, you know, I remember writing an email to a mass email to my clients one time because I felt that I wasn't getting enough. You know, granted, they're paying me for a service. So really, they don't necessarily, like, they can do with that as they wish, right? Like, I can maybe make posts. If they want to interact, they don't need to. But that's what I push for. But I remember making a post, like, you know, I sent an email out to all my clients. And I'm like, hey, guys, like, I probably shouldn't take this personal, but I'm actually a little bit disappointed that you guys aren't engaging as much as I'd like for you to, because we're a community. Like, all my clients, we're still one-on-one, but I have a private Facebook group for us collectively. So it's like, you know, because I want that community feel. I want people to know that there's other people in this group going through the same struggles, that, you know, want the same things, you know. And, you know, it was actually pretty well received. Like, you know, after that email, the very next week, you know, I was getting way more engagement. You know, the check-ins were way more on time. I didn't have to wait an extra 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever. Like, everybody was, you know, they might have not written back like, hey, you know, this is why, but I let them know, like, my metaphorical door is always open. Like, I need you to communicate with me. Like, this is.
Do you think that's useful? Also because, like, what's going through the client's head may be, you know, that they're going to irritate you or annoy you, right? They're like, I'm a high maintenance client. They're afraid to be that type of client. That's something that, like, I've always thought about too, which is why, like, I actually become the annoying trainer, because then I'm after almost every email, it's like, reach out if you need anything and let me know how I can make this easier or better some way. Because like, if you reach out all of a sudden that you don't normally reach out for a question that you don't normally ask, that's okay. And not only is it okay, I encourage it and I need it. So
yeah. I mean, after every check-in email that I give back, if somebody, you know, messages me in the portal, I 97% of the time, I'm like, is there anything else that you need from me that I can do to help you in this moment? Because, and I tell people all the time, I'm like, look, this is a safe space. Like, I provide a safe space for my clients. they can be, the most vulnerable of clients we've built relationships with. Like I've actually built now relationships with, right? Like, because sometimes the reason why they're not checking in for 2-3 weeks at a time is they might have gone through something really, really, really deep in their family, or, they might, be going through a job issue, relationship issue, whatever. Right. And that gets to them. But I'm like, look, I'm still here. And like, look, you don't have, like, nobody is obligated to share information that they do not want to share. But I also do say, at least, at the very least, say, hey, coach, like, sorry for not checking in these last couple of weeks. I don't really want to talk about it, but I've been going through something really personal. Just know that I'm really trying to get back. And then I'll still say at the end of it, like, thank you for responding, thank you for emailing me. Like, I really, really appreciate it. What else? What can I do for you in this moment? Because everybody needs help. Everybody. To what capacity or what degree that they're willing to allow you to help, that's up to them, but they need help. Even if me responding and just validating what they're feeling, that is more than enough for some people to be like, to keep going. And that's all I need. So having a safe space is, huge. Right? Like, don't get it twisted. I'm human. I'm a human being. Sometimes I don't really like answering the same question 100,000 times. I mean, that's anybody in any profession, right? But like, at the end of the day, like, so what? Even if I don't like to do it, I do it because they depend on me and it's required of me. And that's my responsibility to them, right? And that's why it's so important to get out of your own, like, for me, it's like, get out of your own feelings about things and do for your clients and serve them to your best friggin' ability. And that's why I've been able to do so well, is because my clients, like I told them, like, I care about them individually, and I care about them probably more than they think that I do.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what matters. And that's why my clients stay with me.
Well, I think that's why you grew so, like, as big as you did, Lou, just because it's hard with the online portion. Like, you're not seeing them every day in person, all that sort of idea. Like, sometimes it's just texting, email. So how do you develop a connection with a person that you're not actually, like, able to see their facial expression, see how they're actually feeling? So I think because I guess, like, what you've been through and that sort of thing, where you can actually empathize with what they're doing, what they're going through. And you're like, I'm here to help you. Right.
Yeah.
And you just, like, provide a safe space. And I think that's amazing. And I think any online personal trainer should try to take those steps into account, rather than being like, here's a program that my 10 other clients are already doing anyways. You're like, no, I'm going to make this for you. You're going to call me, text me whenever you need me. So, and it's amazing what you're doing.
Yeah. Thanks,
sure.
dude. For me, it's been one of those things where I've had to learn, and, I've kind of had to, like, die to myself, so to speak. Meaning I've had to, sure, I know what needs to be done to reach my goal, so to speak. Like, that's why I'm the professional. That's why I'm the expert at what I do. Right. But some people don't. And that's why I have a job and I have a career doing what I do. Right. And, at the same time, it's like, empathy is, it seems to be like a big topic, a big word that everybody uses, that I even hate to really say a lot, because I don't want it to lose its power, because I really do believe it's a powerful thing. Yeah. But I can, like, empathy is to understand. I won't always understand what my clients go through. I don't always understand what people as what human beings go through on a daily. I don't understand, because I don't have that experience. Like, for instance, most of my clients are women. I at first, at least for a long time, I couldn't empathize when they had their period. I'm male. I don't get my period. I only know about, and I can only technically empathize now because of the amount of women that I've coached, and it happens to all of them. And I'm like, you know what? Like, this is what I've learned through the experience of others. So if I can help you in any way, I'm only going off of what I know. And if there's an experience if there's an experience that's happened to someone that I've never experienced myself, I can only offer to be an ear. I can only offer encouragement from the most general sense. But yeah, like still just being there, to the best of my ability is what matters. And that's what separates me from a lot of other people, is that these clients are not just numbers. They're not just my income, but these people are people. They deserve to be treated as people. They don't deserve to be treated like pieces of shit, pretty much. Right. And I loathe a lot of what I see, in the industry, so to speak, where it's obviously not everybody, and this might even be a very small subset, but like, I've heard horror stories of people where like, oh, my trainer gave me this, gave me that, but they never responded. They don't respond to my emails. They don't respond to my check-ins. I'm like, are you kidding? Like, you paid them and they're not serving you. Like, we are in the professional service business. It's not only lack of professionalism to not respond. Like, you're not even providing the service that they paid you for. Yeah. That's a friggin' problem. It's a problem.
Yeah, definitely.
So
100%. Yeah. How are you helping people get through these tough times now? Like with this whole, obviously the COVID thing happening, have you had found a little bit of a switch? Like, is it more home workouts? How is that going?
Nah. What was funny was I did the first week of this whole isolation lockdown thing. I was like, yeah, I'll do I'll record some home videos and dude, I did like a week and a half of it and I was like, fuck it. I was like, I'm done with it. I have no desire. Like this one thing that, there's so much free at-home workouts that people specialize at home workouts. Like I can do it, but I have no real desire. Plus I feel like, for me, I want to keep the quality and integrity of what my service is, which is a strength training and nutrition program. I cannot sift through, and all my programs are 100% custom. Like I don't have Hot Body Volume 1. This is what I give all my clients who deserve this one, right?
Hot Body Volume 1.
I mean, I can totally create that. I can easily get you a hot body, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to give you, I don't do cookie cutter plans. So for me to sift through YouTube to try to find, I don't know, towel leg curls, which they do have because I've used that, towel leg curls instead of stability ball leg curls, because one person has a stability ball, one person doesn't. By the time I'm done sifting through YouTube, we'll be out of this quarantine anyway, and everybody's going to be back in the gym. So no, I won't do that anymore. I obviously have given an at-home template. So for all my clients, I'm like, right now, this is like a unique time. I'm not going to water down my service. I'm going, my thing is more about the communication, your nutrition, making sure that you're strength training. All my clients, I signed up a client recently who has an at-home gym. So I was still able to program the way I normally would because they have everything have most of the things that a gym would normally have.
Nice.
Which is great. And there's no short of people with home gyms. It's just you got to find them, right? But, once you have one of them, you're going to get another one. And you're going to get another one. So, I'm not going to water down. It's just a matter of, working with the people that I currently have while finding the people that have what I, have or can utilize what I offer to its max. And that's what I did. I did recently sign up a client where I did create, she's the only person. And the reason why is because she was so she's like, I need this. And she's been following me for a while. And I've known her for years, especially through the online world. So I was like, all right, because of the equipment that she had, I was able to make an at-home program. But even her at-home program is different than the template I gave my other clients to mix and match whatever they wanted to do, right? And I actually, so we made it work. And so, yeah, for me, that works. But I'm, I did the at-home and I love video editing. I love taking photos. That is my thing outside of fitness. But recording videos and then editing them for my clients or just for free workouts for Instagram, it took the joy away from wanting to do it for myself. And I need to train and I'm not going to miss my training sessions. So I uploaded 3 different videos. Use them at your will. mix them in with whatever else you want to use, but this is what I'm doing, and I'm not going to keep on making at-home workouts all the time. Like I might do it like once a week, or I might throw on the IG live and like, hey, come train with me, follow along, but I'm not going to, I've been getting through it. I've been getting through this the same way I was doing it before.
Nice.
Communication, weekly check-ins, like nothing has changed. Nothing has changed, and I will not change it. They're like, people are like, adapt. I'm like, well, if you have a system that's not necessarily broken, what the frig am I adapting to?
Yeah. You don't need to evolve necessarily if your system's already set up to, kind of move with what's happening, So yeah, you're all good. Going back to your transition from like in-person training to online, a lot of struggles, and I've gone through this, and I still go through this in my own way. But a pretty common conversation that I have with other just business owners in general, but definitely people who work from home, so definitely an online coach like yourself, is like creating that structure that now you are in charge of. So which sometimes it can be a challenge for people, not just the schedule, but also what happens is, your work life bleeds into your personal life. And then there's no line between one or the other. Have you had challenges with that? And if so, how have you put things in place to overcome that?
Yeah. So man, about 2 months ago, I was starting to, so I've dealt with depression, but I'm learning, and that's a whole nother topic that we'll get to, but I had a moment about 3 months ago where I can start to really feel it creep up on me. And the reason why was I just felt I was doing too much and, trying to do this, whether it was like create my content and work out and still get my other clients up to speed. And, then I have a dog who obviously I take care of, and he's only a puppy. So like, I was just doing all this stuff. And I remember just saying like, I messaged my clients. They're all very understanding, especially the ones that have been with me forever. They know how much I give of myself. And that's another thing too. Like I was giving so much of myself to my clients that I wasn't taking time for myself in that regards. And I remember I wrote a message. I'm like, look guys, I'm going to be offline. Well, at least not doing any work to this capacity from Thursday to Sunday, back to normal Monday. I need time to myself. Like I'm really struggling with some really bad anxiety right now. And all of them respected it. All of them. And there was not one person that gave me shit. And if they did, I've never fired a client, but I feel like I would have done it if someone was like, no. You know what I mean? Like, nah, all right, like you gotta go. Which is great. Like I have very, very, very understanding clients. And like, that's why I care about them so much. And I care about their success as well. Right. Like they are, this is a two-way street. So, I've learned though, now I know that I work best, and I work my best at night. I just do. Like, once my dog I put my dog in his crate at 9:00. Once 9 to 10, 9 to 11 comes, I can literally bang out in detail any check-ins that I have not done for the day, because it's a moment, like I can actually sit down, not missing anything. I can turn off the TV, turn off the lights, and just work. And I feel really good about that. But yeah, I set schedules up for the most part. Especially let's say I don't really start work until 9 a.m. I might work from 9 to 12, answer emails, do check-ins. But then from like, let's say 12 to 2, I'm on Instagram. I'm making content for that because I like to do that type of stuff. Yeah. And then maybe I'll go back to another couple hours of check-ins later. And then that's it. Like I just break up my day and I make sure I get my training done personally. And that's it. Like right now it's, I love to work. Like I do. I really love my job. Like I love what I do. I love working, but I don't want to lose that love for working by overextending myself. And I started to see myself doing that. Yep. And that's why I was like, yo guys, I got to take a step back.
Yeah.
And and that's it. So
I think that's wise.
Yeah.
You made a reference there to just like experiencing depression, and I know you're pretty open about it, as am I. Maybe not as open as you, but I'm a pretty open book with that stuff. But one of the questions I had for you was, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what are some of the things that you practice currently or have practiced that maybe don't even anymore, or that you're attempting to right now that have helped improve your mental health? over the last few years, or like I said, currently?
All right. So this is a little story that, so one of my clients is a chief of neurosurgery. So she's a brain doctor, and we have video chats every week. And I like to discuss these type of things as well. Like, sometimes I just, if I'm in a mental space, like, even though she's not a psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever, but she's around other folks who, so we talk about these things, and like the brain evolves, right? Now I'm 32. I never had like the most traumatic life. I actually have lived a very, very privileged life, I would say. That said, the last few years I had dealt with some pretty bad depression. But then I had this moment in the shower, not that type, where, where I was like, I'm sure we've all had those moments. It's kind of like a meme where like your best thoughts, or like some of the most, your best thoughts, or like your most like in-depth thoughts or ideas come in the shower. All right.
Or when you're shitting.
Or when you shit, yeah, honestly,
right.
dude. Like
in the bathroom.
in those most intimate times, you're just thinking about things. And like, I remember just sitting there, letting the hot water run on my body, and I'm just like, yo, I've never been like this in my entire life, and it's only been within the last like 2-3 years that I've really started experiencing this. What changed? And that question set in motion things that like I was going back to the moments I was like, I can remember instances of like when I was 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old, not that they were traumatic, but I can just think of things that like have happened, right? That maybe didn't sit well with me in my adulthood. For instance, one thing is like, I have like, it's a joke, like, I can make a joke about it, but like I have PTSD where I can't watch Beauty and the Beast. And the reason why I can't watch Beauty and the Beast is there's always this moment where Beast gets upset with Belle, and he like makes this loud roar in her bedroom. And then but this loud roar catches me all the time, and I always get startled by it because I hate yelling. Like I remember my teachers always yelling at me growing up because I was never a bad kid or a bad student. I was just, ADD, ADHD wasn't a thing back in the late 90s, early 2000s. They just thought you were being an asshole, and they thought you were just acting out in class. So like I was never on medication for it. I was just always talking. And I would get yelled at a lot. So, and like back then, teachers raised their voices, like they didn't have to really worry about like, a parent coming in like, don't yell at my kid, which that's a whole nother topic of conversation. But like my teachers yelled at me. And so like when I would hear yelling, now it's like I get triggered by it. And so, yeah, man, just like I would think about these things. I'm like, yo, like what else? And I would think about like past relationships, right? Past, like whatever. And all that plays into the effect now that I'm, 32, and like it actually plays a role in my life. And I would say it has no power over me. It's now managing like those, scenarios and situations where like I realize like it's not like I don't need to react to those stimuluses, so to speak. And so what I realized was a lot of my depression came from actually my anxieties, and like people get that totally, they really misconstrue like having anxiety is not having depression, and people can be depressed without ever having anxiety, right? And then there are people who get depressed as a result of their anxiousness, and then they get upset about being anxious, and then that puts them to a dark, deep place. Right. So there's so many ways that the brain functions in that realm. I'm in therapy. That's why I'm like learning all this stuff. So my depressions came from my anxieties. So, and I took Lexapro for about a year and a half, which turned me into a flipping zombie. Like you could literally be like, yo, you look like shit. And I'd be like, nah, you're funny. Okay. Like, that's just how I like, I just had I was damn near apathetic, which was a really bad place to be. And then I was going through a lot of stuff personally over the last, like almost 2 years, year and a half, 2 years. and I would get depressed really, really badly, really badly. Like I've even had thoughts of harming myself. Like, and I knew there was something wrong when that happened. Like I was very self-aware to know that that's not me, right? And so I was on Zoloft, and like it worked. It definitely helped. But at the same time, I was like, listen, there's like, I was that person that was like, there's like, oh, I don't want to be on medication forever. Or I don't want to be on medication for this, blah, blah, blah. But then I'm like, oh, like if it helps, it helps. Like it is what it is. But I also was like, I'm not going to live on this stuff for the rest of my life. Like there's got to be something within my thoughts that I can change. And one day I was just like, some people will say it's stupid. It is what it is. Life is about choices. This is the choice I made. So I'm not like, I don't need somebody to judge my choice, but I was like, fuck it. So I just stopped taking my Lexapro. I've got an entire bottle. I took like a few pills and I was like, fuck it, I'm done with this. So I closed it up. It's in my cabinet right now. And I was like, I'm going to focus on fixing my anxieties and like being more aware and how I respond to those. And if I can respond to those well, or not allow them to take over my mind, I'm not going to feel depressed. Like because that's where my depression stems from. And that goes back to much earlier in the conversation where I was like, when I told my boy, I was like, I just don't give a fuck. Like I don't. And releasing a lot of that felt that was probably the first day of liberation I felt by saying that. And I was totally just like, from there, like I've learned to kind of live by that mentality. Not that I just don't care. Of course I care, but like I've learned to care only about what matters in my life. And from there, my anxiety has dropped to almost nothing. And I haven't had a depressive episode since, since about 2-3 months ago when I started to, like, I didn't go into full blown depression, but that's when I told my clients, like, look, I'm feeling this way. I need to take a step back because I didn't want to get to that place. And that was the best thing I did. And anytime I feel that, if I need to make that decision to say, hey, I need to take a step back, I'll do it. But dude, like, I'm super fortunate. I'm one of the lucky ones where it didn't result in me harming myself. You know what I mean? Like, because this is a big battle of self-awareness as well. It's like, no bad thing lasts forever. Just like this coronavirus right now. We're in isolation for weeks, but it's not going to last forever so long as we do our part. It's like your mental health. No bad thing lasts forever if you do your part. And for me, it's going to therapy. It's learning, cognitive behavior. It's like learning how to, take ownership of these situations. Learn about facing your fears, right? Like I've had to hold, like, and that's why, like, I've had to hold up a mirror to myself and be like, yo, I've done some really stupid shit in my life. I've made really stupid choices. I've literally apologized to people. It literally, like I hate confrontation, but I've had to apologize to people if I've hurt them, if I've upset them, because it's not solely for me, it's for them too, but also knowing that, hey, like, in order for me to be a better human being, I've got to actually face these things. And I've done that, and I continue to do that. And that's why I don't deal with that anxiety, depression anymore, because I feel like most anxiety, I don't say most, I would say my own personal anxiety and depression came from not wanting to face my own shit. And that's just what it was. And once I started facing it and realizing that, like, there's grace in life, and that there's, that nothing lasts forever. Nothing bad lasts forever. What can it's only up from here at this point, so, yeah.
I like hearing what people hold on to help themselves get through something. Mine was this too shall pass. For some reason, I just kept saying it to myself in my head, just like, this too shall pass, this too shall pass. So I think it's important to realize that. And it's amazing that you can put yourself in a situation where you go, I got to step back, because you can't help people if you can't help yourself first.
Exactly.
Right. That sounds so cliche, but it couldn't be more true.
It's the truest of true. I mean, look no further than where we're at now. I mean, I've got clients right now who are struggling because their work has overloaded them, and or they got to get adjusted to a new schedule or whatever. And like, again, these are all real life situations. These are all real life things. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, if you don't take care of yourself first, you are going to fall. Like I tell my clients like this. I'm like, look, if you allow external factors and everybody else and everything else to dictate the things that you do and how you feel and how you move, do not be upset with, you know, or you will be upset and you will regret and feel resentful that you're not in control of this right now. Like, control the things you can control, release that you can't, and like, fill yourself up first. Take care of yourself, body, soul, mind first, before you worry about other people. You know, everybody uses the analogy of the being in the plane and you hit turbulence and your mask drops. You don't worry about putting your mask on everybody else first. You worry about putting on your mask so that you can then help others next to you. And that's what people should be doing. But there's something to be said, I think, about the human condition, where it's like, people want to overextend themselves and they really want to help. And there's nothing wrong with that. We should all help each other, but we can't help, you know, you can't help everybody else if you're not even helping yourself. Right. Yeah. And so you need, you know, you have to be able to help others. And I mean, you got to be able to help yourself first before you give to others, because again, it goes back to even again earlier, you only have a finite amount of, you know, mental, emotional elasticity, storage, whatever you want to say. And the moment that, you know, you've overloaded that, or on the flip, the moment that you have none left to give, then you're really screwed, you know, and that's why it's so big.
How have you noticed your church shutting down affect your mental health, like just through the COVID thing?
Honestly, if there is, you know, for me, I love my church, dude. I love my church. I will, like, if there was only one moment in this isolation where like I've actually shed tears, is when we're on the online live streaming for our service, and all of us that, you know, because I serve at my church on photo and video, and like, I love my team. My team is absolutely flipping amazing. I won't even curse because I love it so much that like they need to know without me being expletive. But like, my team is so amazing. My pastors are at a level beyond I can't even tell you. They care about their church. Like, to not be in that setting with those people. Like, I'm a hugger, I'm a high fiver, you know, like if I can't, like, not being around them on Sundays, that was like the most sad I've ever felt. Monday through Friday, I'm fine, dude. I don't leave my house anyway. I mean, I go to the gym, but now I bought all my gym equipment anyway. So it's like, I sit on this couch with the couch that this laptop's on, and I do work. I might watch TV. I might listen to music. But other than that, dude, like, I'm straight Monday through Friday. Saturday, I can get bored. But Sunday, bro, Sunday is the day that I look forward to more than any other day of the week. And not being able to be around all my friends and be around people that I essentially do life with. Whew, that is the toughest. That is the toughest.
I hear you, man. In summation, I do want to field a question for you. I think Ty has this thing where he asks someone at the end of, I don't know if we gave you a note for it or not, but because he might just spring it on you last minute here if you haven't prepared for it, but you're a perfect candidate for this question.
Let's go.
Yeah, this is, I'm excited for Louis' answer here. So Ty, hit him with it.
Every single thing you've answered, Louis, I'm like, I can't wait for your answer to this question right here. So at the end of every podcast, I like to ask everyone, what's one thing you'd want every single person on this planet to know? That's it. It's a heavy question, man. I know.
That is deep, dude. Like, because I don't want to give some like stupid question. I don't want to give like some like very like superficial answer, but what's one thing I would want everybody in this world to know? I would love people to know that people aren't shitty because they're shitty people. People are the way that they are because of their life experiences. And if we could understand, if we are the type of people that say, like, you know, how would I say this? If we want to progress as a society, as humanity, then we really have to kind of stop pointing the fingers and say, you're a screw up, you fucked up, and say, hey, what you did was what you did do was messed up. What you did do was fucked up, but you can be a better person. And if I can help you, if I can connect you with someone that can help you, then I would love to, because I think that people want the same things in life, all in all, whether, and as from the most thugged out dude in the toughest of hoods to the richest of rich living lonesome in a mansion. Everybody wants to feel loved and accepted. They don't want to feel shamed. They don't want to feel judged. They want their concerns, their opinions, their emotions validated. And not to say that, that their concerns or whatever, good, bad, or indifferent. They just want to be heard, respectfully, of course, and that they should be, there should be more of a dialogue and more communication and conversation about this, about whatever it is that's going on, instead of let's just, shit on everybody because they did something that we don't like, or they said something that we don't like. Right. Yeah. Like we're not, and listen, we're not, like, I know for a fact, like, I mean, I'm loud, at least in the shit that I wear. And you know what I mean? Like, but the thing is that, I'm not everybody's cup of tea or a cup of coffee or whatever you want to say, but that's okay. But at least if nobody says that you have to talk to me, you don't have to talk to whomever, but still treat them as a human being, understand that they're humans, and just go from there.
Nice.
A message of empathy.
Well said, man. Yeah. I think the thing to take out of that is that no matter how messed up you think you are, there's help out there for you.
Oh, dude, for
we
sure.
all want the same thing. Everyone's sort of the same. We all want the same thing. I agree. Couldn't agree more. Mm-hmm. Dude, Lou, that was well said, man. I didn't think I'd be this inspired on a Tuesday morning. I'll tell you that right now. I'm going to go run my shovel for like an hour and be like, I can do this. That was amazing, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you. Thank you for the invite. I really appreciate it. It's really dope.
That's awesome. Do you have anything else to add, man? Anything else?
No, not really. I mean, sweet. If you want to connect with me on social media, it's my first and last name. I'm sure you can find it through the podcast.
Yeah, we'll put all your contact info down below. So
I'm pretty easy to find.
Cool.
That's
cool. Perfect,
that's awesome.
Man.
Yeah, everyone follow him on Instagram right now, because you're going to be as inspired as I feel right now. And
and if you like tattoos, you should probably follow him too.
Yeah, I'm not done yet either. So actually, what I want the world to know is I still need to finish all this right here, which is going to suck.
Does this hurt, Louis? Like, did the crown hurt?
No, the crown was actually very easy. The hands were very easy. Right here was a bit
like on
touchy.
The collarbone and stuff, a little bit.
Yeah. The neck. If you ever want tattoos, don't go to your neck first. Just don't. I didn't go first, but I'm like that. Don't get your neck tatted first. Oh, my chest piece. I have a chest piece of an eagle right here.
Yeah.
You'll see it on my Instagram because I have a lot of shirtless photos. That was the toughest tattoo. Probably by second would be I have a rose that sits on my sternum, like my belly. Yeah. And as small as that one was, holy shit, that was painful.
Damn. That's crazy, man.
It's part of the journey though, eh?
Yeah, man. I love tattoos. They are my form of self-expression. Yeah. I mean, for instance, I love candy and I love all this shit. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's just what I got.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate you giving us your time. I've been wanting to reach out for a while, so I knew you'd be a great guest and have some good insight to kind of give us as well as our listeners. So thanks again for coming on, Louis.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening to the show, and we'll see you on the next one.